Alan says, I love the C languages. That's where a real programmer is made. Maybe. Maybe. I went to my very first formal training was in C++. I went to a technical high school where I took some programming lessons, and my first language was C++. Hated it, but I can see what you mean about the C languages. Like, I get it. Like, I know why you would say that. But I was fortunate that I had a very good instructor for this C++ class. He was one of those instructors that was like a pain in the butt, but at the same time was a good guy in what he was teaching you. You know, he gave quality materials. He was just a little bit of a knucklehead about it, right? I don't like cursing on my stream, but he was a jackass, right? But he gave good information. And one of the things I remember he told me, he said, look, it doesn't matter what language you know. It's about knowing how a program works. And the way he broke it down was, you got to know how to declare a variable, right? How to do, what did he call them? Oh my gosh, what is the word for them? Oh gosh, I'm sorry, I forgot. But you got to know how to code a variable. You got to know how to do your decision statements, right? Like your ifs, your case statements, right? There's a name for that. I just can't remember it right now. I'm running a blank. And then you got to know how to loop through things, right? You got to know how to declare a variable, make your decision statements of ifs and whens and elses and things like that. And you got to know how to loop through things. And then you also got to know how to take input from the keyboard, right? How does somebody give an input from the keyboard, and how do you display it out to somebody? If you can know those 4 things about any language, then or about programs in general, then you should be able to write in any language. So like if you're a C guy, Alan, you should be able to say, okay, I'm going to go learn, VB.net. So show me how I declare a variable. How do I do a decision statement? How do I do, inputs and outputs from the keyboard? And how do I do a loop? Like I, as a VB.net programmer, should be able to give you like a 10-minute briefing on that. And then you should be able to run with it, right? Because those skills should be your skills as a developer, not a C developer, but as a developer, should be able to carry over to say, oh yeah, okay, I can make something happen here, right? Like, you're not going to be an expert at it, of course, but you should be able to like make that shift. And I've always believed in that. So when I think about the favorite language, like, mostly Python, but I could learn another one, right? Or when you make this statement about C, like, yeah, that's great, but you shouldn't love C per se. You should love the process of creating programs. And then that process you could carry over to anything, right? Like you could turn yourself into a Java programmer tomorrow if you wanted to, because you understand how to use a loop, or or when you need an if statement, right? Like I'm not sure if I'm explaining myself clearly, but to me, that's one of the things that's invaluable in my career, where I just think about, not the language, but the program. Like, what does a structured program need to look like to achieve what I want to do? And if you can do that, then it's all just syntax, right? It's all just, arranging it on the screen so that you don't get any errors when you compile, right? Like the language almost doesn't matter at some point. All right, so I'll leave that there. But thanks for the discussion, Alan. It's good discussion. Okay, see, Alan, I'm not the only one. Michael says, C frustrated me. I had to switch to Python for my mental health. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. For me, C was kind of hard. And then when you get to pointers, it's like super hard, right? Like that's where they lost me. That was my exit. When we started talking about pointers, I was like, what? I'm done. Like that's where I mentally checked out. Pointers are difficult in C. So Michael, let us know what your exit point was. But yeah, C can be hard to learn. C and C++. Yeah, I remember I was learning in Borland C++ of all things. Ugh. Patrick says, I thought we were all doing data science and assembly. Oh, okay. It's going to be one of those mornings, huh? Oh, well, you're not a real programmer unless you're an assembly man. It's all assembly. Don't be that guy. Rex says, I love the theory behind computer programming and how it applies to all programming language. Yeah, you know, it really does, right? It really does. And to me, one of the reasons why that's also stuck with me is because what are you talking about there when you think about, you're talking about abstraction, right? Like to be able to look at something but then abstract the meta from it, right? And that's so much of programming, right? It was like 95% of programming is being able to see things in abstractions, right? Like how do you take a dog and create a class out of a dog? Well, you need to have class size, class weight, class bark, class color, right? Like it's all just like being able to look at things and like, you know, think about it at a meta level. Right? So yeah, I mean, I like the way you're describing it here, Rex. It's about like being able to just like think about it as a theory of programming, not I'm a C developer, right? Leon Lim, 2008. Welcome, Leon. I don't think I've seen you before, Leon. Let us know where you're from. Recursions. What do you mean by that? Like writing recursive code? What do you mean, Leon? Give us some more information there, my friend. Let us know where you're from and let us know what you mean by recursions. Rex laughing at Patrick's statement there. Yeah, I mean, assembly would be funny, wouldn't it? Alan says, oh God, I forgot. Actually, assembly is where I want it. Okay, guys, we have some PTSD going on in the chat. Everybody slow down. We don't want to give Alan or each other PTSD because pointers definitely give me PTSD with C, but Alan looks like he's having some flashbacks over there with assembly. You okay over there, Alan? Let us know you're okay. Yeah. Type a 3 if you can't type full letters, Alan. Just type a 3. Let us know you're okay. Class structure and interfaces are a bit more complicated in some languages like C and Java. Class structures and interfaces are a bit more complicated like C and... They can be. But you know what though, Jay? It's more about knowing what class you need though, right? The challenge isn't in writing the class, it's in knowing what you need. I mean, that's the abstraction that I'm referring to. Like, how many classes do you need and why? And what does each class need to do? Right? That's more of the challenge that I was referring to. And by the way, guys, this makes a great discussion because what we're talking about right now is exactly where I see data science going in the future. So if you've been coming to the Sunday class, remember Sundays, 1500 GMT, we're doing the Introduction to Statistical Learning book. We're using ChatGPT to write like basically all of the code. But you still, the human in the loop, still needs to know what code to direct ChatGPT to do. Right? So you need to know like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, this is a linear regression problem. It's supervised learning, which means that I need my training cycles and I need my prediction cycles. So that's at least 2 classes. But then let me create a 3rd class so that I can do my data collection over here because the data collection is coming from 3 different. Like, you still need to have that vision to create those classes and to say like, this is what the overall structure of the program looks like. And then ChatGPT is excellent at those little silos within each one of those structures, right? But you still need to be able to kind of like architect it out and think on that level to be able to kind of put everything together in a cohesive way. So I'm loving this discussion because of that. So I'm not saying you're wrong here, Jay. They can be complicated in C and Java, but the skill is in knowing the class that you need and why. Like, what do you need it to do? Where is it going to inherit from? And, you know, what libraries each individual class needs. Like that's the skill, right? Everything else is just a ChatGPT prompt, right? The stuff that comes below that, right? But thanks for that, Jay. Good insight there.